The late Queen Elizabeth spent most of her life in the public eye. She never criticized it, so something as personal as a pet name must mean a lot to her. Seeing that guy almost prostituted by this pair of wannabe victims was understandable to her. I hope that child is not harmed at the hands of a narcissistic parent. Welcome back to Meghan's channel and the unique charm of her horse teeth. Let's dive into lively discussions and explore intriguing topics together. The late Queen is gone, but her stories are still here. The name Elizabeth is very familiar to us. It has been attached to the British people in particular, and people around the world in general, for nearly a century, and I think that name will be mentioned forever. Yet there are people like Meghan who dare to name her child Lilibet. That was like an action to mock the Queen. Sovereigns are not citizens of the UK and are not entitled to the protections that a person has. They are in a legal gray area between government property and free citizens. You'd be shocked at how much legality you can get away with doing that to a British monarch. Unfortunately, the late Queen could do nothing. Things like this have been happening to the royal family for decades, and that's why they're so private. The child was born in America. Here, there are very strong legal remedies for copyright infringement. However, our laws have remedies against identity theft. Personal names generally cannot be copyrighted. I think no one needs to research this copyright issue. I think Robert Hardman's book will be a game changer in that it renews the worldwide sympathy that the Queen had during her lifetime. I don't think people have forgotten how brave and patient this woman was in an impossible situation at the end of her incredible life. On the other hand, don't we all know about this already? Where is the public apology from the mainstream media for branding us as conspiracy theorists and crackpots? Elder abuse is a single, repeated act or lack of appropriate action occurring in any relationship requiring trust that causes harm or distress to an older person. At the time, the Queen was deeply mourning the death of Prince Philip and asked that the personal name never be used again when Harry and Meghan did this. Our beautiful late Queen felt angry and heartbroken when the Falcons announced her daughter's name on social networks. That's what narcissists do. They don't know true love with children being used as pawns, accessories. To attract attention, people will have or adopt children just to look better. Not for themselves, love children. They will take them from their ex, even though they don't want them just to gain attention and admiration, or as a way to punish or seek revenge. This is nothing new or unusual. I imagine that Prince Harry would never dare refer to his late mother Queen Elizabeth disrespectfully as Grandma Lilibet, because it is supposed to be considered personal and private. He should have known it would probably be very hurtful to do that and then lie. It was cruel to her and his innocent child to involve her in the argument. Is there anything Harry won't let her get away with? She taunted the Queen with that lame curtsy and now allowed her to use the Queen's childhood nickname that was so precious to her. I wonder if she put him in a compromising position with Marcus Anderson or something, since he can't be spanked. According to Angela Levin, Meghan trademarked the name Lilibet before she gave birth, possibly even before she became pregnant, with the express goal of using the name association to make money. The example given was that Meghan Markle would use her daughter to market a line of gloves, calling them Lilibet's gloves, and people would want to buy them because the Queen's name attached must mean she approved of these gloves. Most children will think their name has a special meaning or was chosen because their parents liked the name. Sadly, this child will learn that the basis of her name is to be malicious, and steal someone's identity and personality and rob her of her legacy for money. What made me so angry was that it was revealed that almost immediately after she was born, within about a day, they registered the domain name Lilibet Diana. They know what they are doing and will continue even if Queen Elizabeth objects. It feels as if they have manipulated our late queen and put her in an impossible situation. I also think that Prince William's post on family, these two people need to grow up, move on, and cut all ties with families and institutions that they consider racist, cruel, unfair, and controlling, but which put them in a position to privilege and live life as private citizens. We all know they would never do that because that is their only source of financial means, because they have no other creativity or determination to make a life for themselves. I am deeply saddened by the way in her later years of duty and service he treated his beloved grandmother, with whom he claimed he was very close. No one, not even the most spoiled child in the world, treats someone they claim to love like that. After Prince Philip's funeral in April 2021, I remember the Meritorious Service Medal widely reported that the late Queen did not want anyone to use the name Lilibet. Understandably, the last person to call her by that name was gone. It's no secret. So this despicable duo must have known about her wishes when Lilibet was born in June 2021. Elizabeth is the middle name of many of the Queen's late ladies, a fitting tribute to the Queen Princess Anne, Anne Elizabeth Alice Louise, Beatrice Elizabeth Mary, Zara Ann Elizabeth Tyndall, Charlotte Elizabeth Diana, Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary, and Sienna Elizabeth Mapley Musi. Two cruel people must rob the Queen of the beloved name that her ancestors, husband, and sister have always loved. I think Lily may have been the name Harry and Meghan asked about, not Lilibet. Angela Levin said that Harry and Meghan trademarked the name Lilibet when Meghan was pregnant. I believe this was a plan, and the late Queen was not asked for permission. The late Queen is said to have said, "I don't own the palaces. I don't own the paintings. The only thing I own is my name." And now they've got it. It's said there will be a big reveal in the spring that could clear up the rumors about the kids once and for all. If the kids are fake, it's okay. But if she exists, the students can be extremely cruel. She would have to live with that name and be bullied for 18 years. 18 years of tears can make any child think about doing bad things to themselves. It is done blatantly for business. I can just imagine them saying, "Think of our photo opportunity of Lilibet meeting Queen Lilibet. It will be on all the front pages and we will make a fortune." They think that name will be the gift that keeps on giving. No one can make me believe that that wasn't their motive. They could name the child Elizabeth, Lissy, Lily, Beth, Isabella, Eliza, Bethany, Elizabeth, Elise, or something like that. It was never about naming the child after the Queen, but about depriving the Queen of her most personal, intimate identity, hurting her and causing her pain. It's about monetizing the crown, the royal name. It's revenge for them not being allowed to use Sussex Royal. Remember, Meghan said, the Queen does not own the word royal. Forever connecting the child, consigning this child to the history books, was erasing the real Princess Lilibet from history and replacing her with their daughter. It is taking away a part of the late Queen's childhood, her identity, and her privacy. It's about the theft of her identity and the very little privacy the Queen has in her life. How can anyone be so calculating, powerful, and such a big liar? This story makes me sick because that woman treated our beloved late queen with so much disrespect. She paid for that particular nickname to be her domain before she got pregnant. These two people lied and then dared to threaten the media with legal action. And my heart breaks that she intentionally did this to an elderly woman. But it was only her husband's grandmother and the Queen of England. Isn't she ashamed? In addition to the points I've made about the Queen being told rather than asked, or that she thought the baby's name would be Elizabeth and not Lilibet. This isn't all about the differences between Harry and his grandmother. It's also about Harry and the British head of state and head of the Commonwealth. To claim that she said things she didn't do is to show contempt for both her and the position. It's to take advantage of her, and it's bad on many levels. I also think there may have been concern about the word support or approved, because at the time the royal family knew that the Sussexes were motivated by a desire to make as much money as possible, and Markle especially doesn't, as cautious about how she did it as she should have been. I know that as soon as I heard the baby was named Lilibet, rows and rows of baby products flashed through my mind. I think that was only one of the reasons they chose this name, to make use of it someday in the future. Perhaps the Queen saw the same thing and didn't want her famous nickname, given to her by those she loved and missed so much, to end up as a trademark on a plastic doll. Barbie, or perhaps she realized that her name would be appropriated for profit, that the car would be this little girl, and, according to Harry, she approved or supported her having the name this. That would make her a participant, someone aloof, but stupid enough not to see the full consequences for this little girl when her parents are as shallow and greedy as Harry and Meghan. I remember in an interview somewhere, Harry said he liked the name Lily for his daughter before she was born. They should have just named her Elizabeth and called her Lily.
So let's talk about how Meghan successfully manipulated Harry.
I believe they tricked the Queen by suggesting that they wanted to name her Elizabeth. They were very quiet, which made me think the news was accurate. Just imagine, the royal family has had to go through a lot since Meghan appeared. There would be no way the Queen would make that call herself. Someone must have heard or recorded the conversation. She is the Queen, after all. So it would be very unwise for the Markles to announce this. As for the name Archie, don't forget they also stole the name Archie from Prince George. It served as his nickname, and George told a reporter, 6 months before Archie's birth, while petting a dog and asking for its name, that it was called Archie. They took it from George. Whether 95 years old or not, the Queen of England will have no trouble denying the attractiveness of these two. However, why would Meghan and Harry change tactics by asking the Queen's permission or blessing for whatever they do? A lie doesn't need a backstory, and now that we've seen their laziness, why would they bother to create one? May her soul now rest in peace. Let's pray for the poor child who has to deal with them as parents. What I worry about in the future is some bully coming up to the kid and saying, "You don't even have a name." Or, "Who do you think you are, Queen?" Mocked her while her beautiful cousin Princess Charlotte became as famous and loved as Catherine. Meghan thought that when she was no longer relevant to watch and was eventually forgotten, she could use Lilibet Diana to create mystery and curiosity among people and become relevant again. To brag among the Hollywood social class that rejects her, I have something more precious that you will never have. I have Lilibet Diana. She knew what she was doing and she didn't care if she hurt the Queen or not. I feel pity for Lily. She has to constantly stay in the shelter, has lost the comparison that her deranged mother was trying to create, to further nourish the need for revenge to take over. Superiority in everything. The thing is that Meghan is who she is and has been. But seeing Harry do all that makes me question how much of it was always within him. I don't think Meghan could turn someone into that when there was no potential for it in the first place. To me, Harry is just as bad. Luckily, the Queen has a cute nickname. Can you imagine that poor girl's life if she was called Peanut? When they get older, the kids will tell them they can't be princes and princesses and then get teased for being vain princes and princesses, and Harry thinks he's in trouble. It won't be pretty, and it will be their parents' fault. I think Lilibet will also be teased at school because her name is strange. It's almost like naming her Honey Boo Boo. She may be allowed in England, where giving children unusual names is more common, or in Hollywood, where children are named GD, Apple, and Moon Unit. She could be called Lily, but at the beginning of every school year, children were called by their full names, and she wouldn't be able to escape that. That's just another reason why she hates her parents. Archie is also not his real name. That was Archibald's nickname, one of his father's names. I remember when Lily was born. I'd say they'll have to choose between Betty or Veronica. Meghan was so confused about who she was from the beginning that she chose to use her middle name instead of her first name. Harry and Meghan live in a house that operates on lies, deceit, manipulation, confusion, and corruption. Greed and selfish consumption as their daily diet. This cannot be a healthy environment for those two children to be exposed to. Life would have been much harder for them growing up in that level of intense toxicity than it would have been for them growing up in England, surrounded by a loving family with common sense, moral values, intelligence, and a protective shell. Ultimately, when Lily learns the truth that she was just a pawn in her mother's dirty hands to dishonor and disrespect the Queen's wishes, she will come to despise Meghan and her father. Her for allowing this to happen, and she would then come to despise her mother and her father for allowing this to happen. Lie about it to make money and draw attention to yourself. It pains me to know that their evil ways have hurt so many people, especially the Queen. And if anything is to be taken, the most important person who is going to be hurt by this is their daughter. They couldn't have foreseen that. That is such a lie if they say that. They named her out of spite, and now she's going to have to live with that. I don't understand how, as a parent, you could do that to name your child out of spite. They've already ruined everything these kids are going to be able to look back at as their lineage. Reflecting on the issues we've just discussed, I believe it opens up a fascinating array of perspectives and deepens our understanding. Your opinions are incredibly valuable as they enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from various angles. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video. Your support is a powerful motivator for us to continue improving and delivering more insightful content. Thank you, and I look forward to our next encounter. Take care.